Okay, before I start today's live, I would like to say thank you for Bug. I posted an image similar to this one with a tomato that had an angry face for the angry tomato, and she created a little something for me that was kind of nice of her. So I thought I'd share that to begin with before I play my music.
Are no match for me, organic. We'll see about.
Oops. How about if I get rid of this screen first? There we go.
You are no match for me, organic. We'll see about that, you overgrown toaster! Your resistance is futile. I will crush you. Not if I squish you first. Witness my power.
It's a tough game we play on this platform you crave, chasing clicks and likes in the digital wave. With each upload, our stories unfold in a world where the truth is often sold.
Oh, screw to the land of the brave, where the algorithms rule and views we crave. From viral highs to simpleton trolls, in this digital realm, anything goes.
Friendships tested in the quest for fame. Content creators, most have no shame. With every collab there's trust at stake, but in this world some friendships break. Ooh, anything goes. Screw to the land of the brave, where the algorithms rule and views we crave. From viral highs to simpleton trolls, in this digital realm, anything goes. Crafting tales of truth, some of deceit.
Hello, Uncle Artie.
Trends in a race we repeat.
Nightwolf.
The pressure mounts as views decline in the search for truth. Where do we draw the line? Oh, screw to the land of the brave, where the algorithms rule and views we crave. From viral highs to simpleton trolls, in this digital realm, anything goes. Fabricating evidence just for the views. A double-edged sword in the news we choose. The line between real and fake is thin as the audience questions what lies within. Oh, screw to the land of the brave, where the algorithms rule and views we crave. From viral highs to simpleton trolls, in this digital realm, anything goes. Are thrilling when the numbers soar, but the lows hit hard down to the core. The grind continues day after day in the endless pursuit of the viral sway. Oh, screw to the land of the brave, where the algorithms rule and views we crave. From viral highs to simpleton trolls, in this digital anything goes. In the end, it's about the story we tell in the ScrewTube world where we excel. Honesty and trust, our guide.
Hey, Dakota, how you doing?
Navigate this digital flight. Oh, ScrewTube, the land of the brave, where the algorithms rule and views we crave. From viral highs to the demonetized lows, when you sell your soul in this digital realm, anything goes.
Hello, my name is Urzu Zyklin, and welcome to my channel. How is everybody doing today? So, Last night I went over and played over on Spin City News, which I believe I have a link here to his channel. Yeah. Okay, so I went over and played on Spin City News. Now, I'm not sure exactly why Spin City took this topic. Primarily, he handles political issues. But we were over in Discord talking, or well, God's favorite aunt and Toasty Man Bad, who apparently has bragged to me that he's versed 1 versus 100 and wins every debate he's ever been in. I've had so many discussions with this fool. But anyway, he was arguing with God's favorite aunt about probability. Well, probability ended up coming up, and he ended up using a mathematical formula that didn't make any sense. Now, what he was trying to do was when I ended up catching on, was he was trying to argue that the courts were crooked, and that since the courts were crooked, that you could just say 50% of the income that comes from the court is corrupt income. Well, no, that's not how probability or statistics work. And the topic of the Bayesian inference came up, and he kept repeating over and over again that there could be 50-50 of 1%, which, oh my God, that didn't make any sense at all. And the way he was using it didn't make any sense. But before we get really into the nonsense about who doesn't make sense or what, let's look into what the Bayesian reference is, or Bayesian inference is. Basically, it's a process of updating your belief in a hypothesis. It's how to enter new evidence into what your belief system is. It's essentially the formal version of given what I know before, what I know now, should my confidence change? Now, basically what you want to do is you want to put it into a prior probability, the likelihood of a new hypothesis, the normalization factor, and prior probability. So basically, let's say if you're looking at, let's say we'll go ahead and put it in a physical term of a meteorite that has a probability of X to strike the Earth. And I will answer your question in a moment. It has a probability of X to strike the Earth. Well, somebody comes along and puts forth the idea of maybe it could be controlled by aliens and we don't know, and at any moment it can change course. That is when you use the Bayesian inference to figure out, do I actually include this new probability into my probability factors, which would end up changing your entire model if you had to add that probability. Or is the likelihood of that so nil that I can pretty much discard it? Now, why it matters is it gives you a structure, where if you think about it in 50-50, as the guy today is going to try to explain, you're only thinking about it in yes and no, where the Bayesian inference gives degrees of belief. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and start off the show. There's a little bit more I can describe about it, but I want to kind of go into the topic a little bit. Basically, so he was trying to explain that if I can't understand that I can divide 1% into 50-50, then I don't understand probability. And really, it's not that. It's actually a lack of knowledge. It's not a lack of knowledge. It's a misrepresentation of what percentages represent, if that makes any sense. So your question, where was that? Oh yeah, the cat video. Yeah, Tom dug it. That was great. The cat that was smuggling mice across the Canadian border. That was pretty darn good. So I went over to Spin City, and I guess what had happened is it went from the Discord over to his channel, and well, at first, both Ant and I were cooking dinner. We had made it very clear that we were both cooking dinner, and we didn't really want to go up on a live at that moment. But they went ahead and pulled up a live anyway, and you can watch the beginning of that live. It seemed like Toasty Man Bad wanted to continue on this subject of probabilities, and Spin City News, I don't think really goes into that detail too much. So he kept trying to go into the geopolitical, and eventually God's favorite ant came up, and we continued the conversation from there. So I'm going to start the video where they begin talking about the subject. I believe there's a cut in the middle there, and then there's a section where God's favorite ant. Now what happened is I wanted to make sure God's favorite ant got out his argument. I wanted to make sure that he had all of his argument out, and his argument had run its course before I come in, because I didn't want to distract from his argument. I know I can be a little overwhelming, I guess I should say. Anyway, let's start this up.
So what in the hell, Toasty? What is he all pissed off about?
Okay, so what he's pissed off about is he tried to tell me that nature is probabilistic and not determined, and I said, well, if nature is probabilistic and not determined, then it's all 50-50 of a 1% chance. And then he started fucking trying to argue with me that that 50-50 of a 1% chance is not true.
Okay, that doesn't even make sense, but okay. I see the argument, right?
How do you see the argument? I mean, 50-50 of a 1% chance is babble, pretty much. It doesn't mean anything.
Right. What exactly doesn't make sense?
The
I want to make sure
50%.
where you're at.
Okay, 50% of what? Define what he's
Okay.
saying the probability of 50% is.
Okay, so you have 100%, right? And then inside that 100%, you have 1%, right? So when you're calculating probability, you have to divide all those 1% into a 50-50.
And that's where he's misunderstanding the principle altogether. It's not there that you have already divided it from 50-50 into individual 1%. 50-50 is 51%, and 51% make 100%.
In order to get 50-50 of the 100%.
Right. No, I get that.
He's saying that no, it doesn't work like that, or that I don't understand probability math. So I'm saying, okay, fine, then explain to me where I'm going wrong. And he can't do it. You'll see that if you kind of read back the chat a bit.
No, I am. So let's give him an opportunity to come up here and explain his point of reason, and why he thinks he's right and you're wrong, right? Give me one second here.
It literally all goes back to the fact that I burnt his ass on evolution because I said, okay, have you ever witnessed a new species of an ant popping out of a fucking rock?
Well, that's a straw man. I don't think anybody that supports evolution believes that a new species of ant pops out of a rock. I believe they think that there's processes that take place which makes new life, but nowhere in it do I believe it describes at all anything just popping out of nowhere.
Okay. All right.
because he was trying to tell me, yeah, evidence, evolution has been empirically verified and yada yada yada. And I said, okay, then what's your independent and observable and verification of this fucking process being true? He's like, well, the scientist did it. I said, I don't want the fucking scientist. I want your fucking testimony. Have you ever seen I don't know, a new species of an ant pop out of a fucking rock? And then he got all fucking pissed off at me, and he's been pissed off about it ever since. That's what this really is. He hates it when I fuck him up, and he can't stand it. Because he was right about everything.
Well, I mean, we know how he is.
That's true.
We know how he is, and you know, it's funny. It's funny.
Yeah.
But honestly, Toasty, let's let him come up here when he's done doing what he's doing. Everybody has the stream. Everybody has a StreamYard link, and they're more than welcome to come up here and, you know, debate the topic, right?
Okay, now let me explain a little bit about Toasty Man Bad. Toasty Man Bad, I've argued with quite a bit. Mostly in chat. He doesn't really go up on many panels. However, he does claim that he's versed 1 to 100 and won a debate. I don't see this, because by the end of today's show, we end up shutting him down completely. He has nothing left to say at the end of the show, really. And as far as, I don't know, asking for evolution in real time, he's a little bit strange. I do end up describing it as best I can, micro or macro evolution or microevolution. But he's the type of person that every single one of his posts includes a series of things. You're stupid. That's dumb. You're a retard. It's idiotic. It's nonsense. And he doesn't care. And this is like not in just a post here and there. Every single argument he makes includes one of those aspects. You're stupid. That was dumb. It was idiotic. It makes no sense. He doesn't care. I don't know if I picked out the same ones or not, but you get what I'm saying. So his argumentation is very, so to complain too much about ad homs is okay. I mean, or is not okay. But when you have somebody that every single comment includes an ad hom, they have no argument. But he decided it was a good idea to go up on this panel. We are a witness to de-evolution. Oh my God, you're hitting the super chats today, aren't you? We got to get that go.
Super shot.
Wait, did he really skip the part where I showed my butt?
Yeah, it looks like he...
Oops. Brilliant. Wait, do I got audio issue?
I have no idea.
Oh man, I mean,
Did you see those little shorts that I posted?
I saw a few of them. I saw a few.
That was some funny
after
fucking
this
shit.
clip,
And that's kind of
God's
where
favorite
this
ant will
originally
come up.
started at. Is I posted that and I said, it's good that we're wasting our fucking our revenue on stupid shit like this in the courts. Like we're making our fucking courts waste their time on stupid shit like that.
Right.
Instead of going after all these hard criminals and all that stuff. I mean, we're wasting somewhere around like 16.35 billion fucking dollars a year on dismissible fucking retard cases.
Yeah. Okay. I get that.
And he tried to tell me, he was like, so is is every case a fucking dismissible retard case? And I said, no, that's why.
Okay, let's go back just a second and listen to his logic here. He's explaining that the courts are corrupt. And he's going to explain that because the courts are corrupt, he can then take his math and work it 50% of the revenue that they make is corrupt revenue. That's not how it works. You look through the court system to find out how much corruption is there. Let's say there's 5% corruption. Then if you wanted to try to apply that math to your integer there, then you apply it by 5% minuses whatever value came out to 13,000 or whatever that you have there, whatever million. But you divide the integer by the odds, 5%.
Fucking
And you come out with about 5% of the money the courts gather, I guess you could argue, is corruption money.
revenue on stupid shit like this in the courts. Like, we're making our fucking courts waste their time on stupid shit like that. Instead of going after all these hard criminals and all that stuff. I mean, we're wasting somewhere between
I guess apparently she stole a car, or wait, it was a gift that she was paying for in a loan that ended up turning into a gift, but she was making payments on it. I've never
tried to tell
heard
me,
of
he
a
was like,
gift that
so
you
is
make
every
payments on.
case a fucking dismissible retard case? And I said, no, that's why I chalked it up. I divided the processing expenditure in half and came up with 16.35 and said all of this 16.35 is being wasted on retarded fucking bullshit, and all this other half of this total expenditure is not. And he's like, and he tried to fucking do that middle ground bullshit, that maybe shit that he tried to pull the other day.
Right.
And that's how we got talking about probabilities. And I was like, dude.
Well,
and then he tried to he went with that whole fucking make me shit. Then locked him into a room of a rage bait match. Which you fucking know better than to do that with me, because I'm like the fucking king of a rage bait match.
Okay, now for this, I'd have to say that 1% does not inherently split into 50-50. That's just a percentage number, a bracket, let's say. So it doesn't carry the argument, or his argument carries the argument of a built-in structure, two halves, two outcomes, symmetry, only a 50-50 partition. This can be divided into two equal parts, but that's not a rule, such as 1% divided by 50 plus 50, or I mean 50, or sorry, 0.50 by 0.50 equals 1. That's not by, that's plus, by the way. But it's a choice. That's not a rule of probability. It's like saying the light's on or the light's off. You can only divide $1 into another good argument for it is that you can only divide $1 into 50 cents and 50 cents. That you can't divide it into any other means. Now that's where the Bayesian actually comes in, is that it could be divided into dimes or nickels or pennies or any combination of which. That's not where the Bayesian inference looks at. It looks at the penny, the nickel, the dime, the quarter, and how that can be divided. That's basically what it's doing with probabilities. Your probability is higher that you end up with the penny. Well, not anymore, since we don't make them anymore, but yeah, I have something coming up on her. Apparently, she claims that you guys might remember when she said that she Irish Demon used sock accounts to bully her into being her friend, that she didn't want anything to do with him. He bullied her into being friends with him. Well, I apparently have her now claiming that she contacted Irish Demon. How do you have completely contradictory stories like that? That you contacted Irish Demon when you made earlier an argument that you wanted nothing to do with Irish Demon and he bullied you into being his friend. I tell you how. When you constantly lie, you can't keep track of the lies. But let's get back to this. This is the point where God's favorite ant comes up. And like I said, I wanted God's favorite ant to be able to make his complete argument all the way through so that I wasn't distracting from his argument with my argumentation. Now, one thing God's favorite ant does kind of kick me on a little bit is that you can't divide by 0. That is correct. Let me explain that. You are absolutely right. God's favorite ant. It has no mathematical sense. You cannot divide by 0. But let me sharpen this distinction a little bit. You can divide 0 into pieces. You cannot divide by 0. For example, 0 plus 0 equals 0, or 0.5 plus minus 0.5 equals 0, or 100 versus 100, or let's say 0.0001 minus 0.001 can be partitioned. It can be partitioned however you want. 0 can be partitioned in any manner. This is the same with splitting logic into percentages. You're dividing the quantity. You're not dividing by the quantity.
Well, wait a minute. Wait. Oh, it's on, Toasty. Want to welcome to the stage God's favorite ant. That was a long fucking burrito, bro.
Dude, I'm making a batch for the whole family. I'm not just making it for myself, dude. I gotta cook the beans and simmer those. I gotta make rice. I gotta make meat. This shit takes time.
Well, you know,
and I wasn't counting on doing anything tonight, so I didn't plan around this.
Well, you know, I will give you a speed date, as Sarah calls it, and
not necessary. Like,
no, this is your argument. I'm just
my argument. No, I don't. I'm not the one with the argument. Toasty has made this claim that probability is 50-50 of 1%. And I'm telling you, that is not a definition of probability anywhere.
Probability. So the probability isn't even a probability?
You might have had a probability. That doesn't mean it is the definition of probability. Like, you can have an example of something that doesn't make it the definition of something.
Yeah, it does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
If I show you a golden delicious apple, I've shown you an apple. I have not shown you all the apples. I have not defined what an apple is. I've just shown you one example.
One of the apples out of an infinite number of apples, that is still a 50-50 of a 1% chance.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
That isn't how probability works. You can't.
It does.
You know it is. No, it doesn't.
Yes, it is.
You have yet to demonstrate that. You just claim it, state it, and claim it as a. You state it and claim it like it's a fact, but you can't support that fact.
Yes, because if half of the apples are not golden and half of the apples are golden,
is there only two types of apple?
And you've only shown me one.
No.
And
you're trying to say there's only two types of apple?
Just seeing that one that maybe half of the apples are fucking red and the other half of the apples are fucking golden.
Except that's not how apples distribute, is it? There are plenty more types of apples than golden delicious and reds. There's all kinds of reds, in fact. There's all types of golden apples. There's green apples. Like you can't separate it into a binary.
Well, you're talking about shades at that point. And
There are
probability
different types of apple. They have different properties. They taste different. They have different levels of sweetness. They're not the
That
same.
has nothing to do.
It's not
with
just a matter of different
probabilities.
colored
Those are all guaranteed
skin.
to each one of those apples.
Say again.
I said that has nothing to do with probability. Those are all
Yes,
guaranteed.
it does.
to
The
every single one of those
distribution,
apples.
the
Whatever each and
likelihood
every
they're going
single
to
one
come
of
out
those
as
apples-
as a particular type of apple, that's
every
absolutely
each and
determined
every
by
single one of those
probability.
Had a 50-50.
The probability they're going to inherit
of
the genes
being
from their
of
parent is
1%
absolutely
being
based
each
off
and every single one of
probability.
those fucking traits, dude.
What? All those traits are inherited through probability as a probabilistic measure.
Okay, but each and every one of those fucking traits had a 50-50% of a
No, it didn't.
chance to be
You
exactly.
can't say
fucking
that. You don't know what the different elites were. You don't even know what you're comparing to. You're just stating this blanket rule like it always applies. And no, it doesn't. That is not how probability works.
Okay. Do I have a 50-50% of a 1% chance that apple will be bright fucking red?
No. I don't know what the probability would be off the top of my head, but I can tell you it's not going to
Okay, then
be
you can't say I'm fucking
50 of
wrong.
1%.
No, dude.
We don't even know what type of apple we're
Yes,
talking
we
about.
do.
'Cause we have to talk. First, we have to start with type of
Yes,
apple
we
we've talked
do.
about.
We know.
Then we have to look at
we
the
know
genetic markers that
Oh,
define the color of its skin and see what the possibilities are, and then we can determine the likelihood it's going to come out one color or the other, and what shade. But it's
Okay,
not going to be to 50-50 unless there's only
percent of a 1%
two
chance
possibilities.
that apple having whatever fucking properties it's gonna fucking have, dog.
Say again.
I said, but we still know that there's a 50% of a 1%
No, we don't.
chance.
We don't know. It's
Hello, Sirloin.
Yet to
Shut
establish.
Hello, Sirloin. How are you doing? And that is a very good point there that contradicts your claim of Grey Poupon. Your claim of Grey Poupon cannot be accurate. It has to be wrong because it does not include Apple Jacks. Go ahead. Try to put some Grey Poupon on your Apple Jacks and see if it comes out any good.
Fuck
This
up,
50,
you asked me to
51% rule.
reiterate it
You
to
keep restating the same rule like it's true, and you
Hey,
yet
it's a
to
lot
show
of
that
fun.
It
it's
is true.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't.
Wait a minute. I sit around and do this a lot. It's a lot of fun.
Because we know all the possibilities that the apple could possibly go through. That's why we would narrow it. We would water it down to 50-50%.
No, we wouldn't.
Chance that apple is going to be
Matter of fact, right after this, I'll be hopping up on panel and doing exactly this.
super bright red.
50-50 is a
fucking-
coin flip. 50-50 is indeterminate. 50-50 says it's as likely to be something as it is to not be something. That is indeterminate. By definition, that is indeterminate.
No, it's
50-50 doesn't determine anything, and quite the opposite.
No,
You're,
not.
it's just
indeterminate
it's just
because we
luck
can
which
determine
way it's going to go.
what it's going to have through the
Huh?
fucking parentology.
Say again.
I said we can determine what the likelihood of what it's going to fucking have through the parents.
Sure, that's what I was trying to tell you. It's like, what did the parents each contribute in terms of what did each parent contribute in terms of traits and DNA? And from there, you're going to get a likelihood of what the child is going to have, or the descendant,
1% chance,
or in this case, the fruit. It's what's that? It's not going to be 51% of this bullshit you keep spouting. No, it isn't. That is meaningless.
Yes,
that is meaningless numbers that you have yet to establish mean anything. No, yeah, it is actually. You're not saying anything productive or useful. You're not predicting it. You're just making this statement that is nonsensical mathematically.
No, it's not nonsensical.
It is absolutely nonsensical. It's complete nonsense. It doesn't mean anything.
Okay, so if I was to press you and tell me how is it nonsensical, you wouldn't be able to fucking tell me because it's not nonsensical.
I just told you it's nonsensical. Like, I can't go further than that. It's nonsense. It doesn't mean anything. And you have yet to go any further and explain how it's not nonsense and how it's actually rooted in these
because
principles.
we can know what the probability of what it's going to have because we can assess the traits of the 50-50 of a 1% possibility.
So a coin toss actually is as close to 50-50 as you can get in any probability. But it's a 50-50 on or off, 50-50 win or lose. It's not a, let's say, 50% of the time you will get heads. That's a little bit of a different argument. That goes into many different variables, and one can just be as simple as that little grain of dust from your pocket weighted that coin a little bit different. So there's not, when we say a coin is 50-50, a coin can't be divided using the a coin flip can't be divided or corrected using the Bayesian inference. And the reason why the coin can't be changed is because, again, it's the likelihood of odds. And if you only have 50-50 odds, then and you're entering something in that doesn't necessarily always happen or will almost never happen, then you don't need to include that in your final theory, your final conclusion. You know, you can remove a variable that will never ever happen, such as the coin landing on its side. You can kind of remove that variable and just argue that the coin will always land either 50-50 win or 50-50 lose. Now, that doesn't say 50-50 heads or 50-50 tails or the 1 in 1 million chance. I don't know the exact number that it would land on its side. So when you're doing your odds on that, you don't include the odds that it lands on its side. There is the odd that it lands on its side, and that is whatever, 1 in 1 million. Now, what that is that's already a division of 0. That's already a division of 0 that they have already divided into partitions of millionths. And it's one partition of that millionth of a 0, or of a 1, I guess I should say.
That doesn't mean anything.
Yes.
Wait, what question did it answer? What panel? This panel. If you're asking which panel I'm going to come up on Spin City's panel here in a moment, I'll be popping up right after God's favorite ant finishes his argument. This was last night.
It does.
No, it doesn't. It does not mean it. Your
If that's not the question I didn't answer, then please ask the question again.
partition is 1% for no reason. There's no reason why 1% should divide evenly.
Yeah, that's what I see. He's trying to make the argument that 1% divides. No, 1% is a division of 0. It's so you have 100%. And you have 100 1% dividing that 100%. Once you break it down to 1%, you can't break it. You cannot break it down back into a 50-50. It's a 1%. It's a 199 if you wanted to put it that way.
That's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. That is not how probability is calculated.
Well, then we don't have probability, dude.
What?
Then we don't have probability if
Yes,
it's
we
meaningless.
do. We do have probability. Your leaps of logic are amazing. Like, seriously, if you could physically leap as far as you leap with logic, you could jump halfway across this planet. In fact, I bet you could jump to the moon. You have nothing of value to say. You just spout this meaningless crap and expect us to accept it.
Okay. I have to ask a question.
He doesn't even have a fucking probability.
Okay, I have to ask this question. Are we talking 1% of 100%? Or are we actually splitting hairs here?
No, we're not talking about anything meaningful. He's got this weird notion that 50-50 of 1% somehow means we can determine probability. No, that's not probability. That's meaningless gibberish in terms of in mathematical terms. He's just making noise and he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about.
Because he doesn't listen.
Okay, so Toasty, what he just said, what is your answer to that?
He doesn't listen.
Okay, so let's establish what he's not listening about.
Okay, so we have the parents. Okay, they have their traits, right? So they come together and they
This
fuck,
is not how
and they make a
trees
little
work.
fucking baby apple. There's like 50% of the 1% chance in the entire in the whole
1% of what?
The 50,
Oh, wait a minute, wait a minute, Ant. Let him finish, and then you can respond. Go ahead, Toasty.
And the parents themselves, they are both a 50% chance making a whole 100% chance. And then everything that happens in the sperm fertilizing the egg, however you want to fucking put it, to make that's making the new apple. There's a 50% chance of everything that's going to trickle down into that and make the whole new apple.
None of this is how trees work, and absolutely none of that supported his argument. However, the tree analogy is a good way to describe the inference.
So when we can look at the parents and we can say there's a likelihood that this fucking apple's going to have blonde hair or it's going to have black hair, and there's a 50% of a 1% chance that they're going to get that conclusion, you dumb fuck.
No, that's completely meaningless nonsense. You haven't said a goddamn thing.
What you're suggesting is there's no problem.
You don't understand how inheritable traits work. You don't understand how probability works, but you love to speak with all this great confidence about how you know this stuff, and everybody's stupid and dumb because they tell you you're stupid and dumb because you are stupid and dumb. Like you don't know anything.
Just you.
No, you really don't know a goddamn thing. You like to talk about all this shit, this mad shit about people that disagree with you, but you really don't know a goddamn thing.
All right, then teach me.
I tried teaching. You know what? An immutable mind cannot learn. An immutable mind cannot learn. You have proven to be impervious to outside knowledge.
You're sitting there saying, we don't know that we know the probability of that we don't know.
That's not what I said. That's what you heard, but that's not what I said.
What you fucking said.
No, that is not what I said. Open your fucking ears, you retard.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Go ahead. What did you say? I'll let you.
In terms of what you're talking about, first of all, that would not guarantee 50-50 odds of anything.
I'm thinking
like,
right about here
odds,
is where I figure
possible outcomes.
Pretty much.
But you take an outcome where you could have blonde hair, dark hair. What?
He just said 2 possible outcomes, right?
No. You're not listening to me. In the case of inheritable traits, for example, you want to talk about hair color? Cool. That's a pretty good one because the potential hair colors are determined by both the mother and the father, right? And if they have if they have different DNA coding for hair, you're going to have a wide variety of hair choices that the child could have. It's not going to be 50-50.
So again, that 1%.
It's not 1% of what, you retard? You have to explain like what this per population is the 1%. What is it you're measuring there?
He don't know.
You understand probability boils down to simply measuring area under a curve. We're all looking at we're looking at distributions of populations and then measuring an area under the curve. At the end of the day, that is what population is referencing. Or excuse me, probability.
So if you have a 50-50 of all those 1%.
That's not how that's worked. That's not how that's determined.
Yes, that's exactly
no, it's
how
not.
It works.
No, it isn't. No, there's no reason to partition one.
If you have a 50-50 of all of those 1%, all you have is idiot math.
100% into halves and then do anything with it. That doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't function. It doesn't
Because
have
you're taking
a
all the
function.
probability out of probability. That's why it doesn't
No, I'm
mean
not.
anything.
You don't even know what probability is. God.
And I'm gonna ask you just for dialogue, right? And
Okay.
Toasty, stay quiet for just a minute.
Sure.
What is your definition of probability?
Well, I gave it in the Discord. Let me just. I like that definition, so I'm going to look it up real quick if I can find it. Never mind. This is taking too long.
Just like your burritos? Yeah.
Well, I would have liked those to go faster too, but I can only cook so fast. I mean, I can't help it if things take time to reduce. I mean, what am I supposed to fucking do about it?
And in Ant's defense, yeah, there was quite a while, but we both, him and I, were cooking, and we both took about the same time to get finished cooking. It's some people cook. We actually cook. We just don't stuff stuff in the microwave or stick a box in the oven.
Pre-cook it.
I wasn't planning to do anything tonight but cook. So why? Pre-cook for what?
Well, I mean, you never know when a StreamYard or an argument's going to come up. So
I don't plan around this. It's like if it comes up, cool. But I'm usually more interested in like Sarah's than just random off panels. But I'm not against them. It's usually what I'm looking for. All right. Probability is just the chance that any given event will occur. Simply put.
Okay, Toasty, your response?
No, it's killing me. What was the question?
The chance that a given event will occur. I'm just pulling it straight out of Merriam-Webster's just for
Killing me,
simplicity.
man.
So we don't have to sit here and argue all night about definitions.
Okay. So what is the
panel?
chance?
This panel.
What is a chance?
Mm-hmm.
The chance is going to be the calculated percent. Usually it's a percentage, not always, but it's a decimal.
Okay.
Between, like I said, like I tried to explain to you earlier, when we are measuring probability, that's the p-value you see in statistics, it will be a value between 0 and 1, but will never be 0 or ever be 1. Okay? And what we're measuring,
50,
what we're determining is how likely the event is to occur. Right? And if you're at, say,
so any given event, 50,
hold on, let me, no, not any given event. Not any given event is going to be 50-50. Right? That implies equal odds. It's equally likely to happen as it is to not happen. And that is just not the case. Because there's more than one thing that could happen in most events.
Possibilities of 50-50s of a 1%.
Where are you getting 1% from?
Or not occur.
Where are you getting 1% from? Why are you going back to this 1% thing? It has nothing to do with what we're talking about. This is just your basic misunderstanding of Bayesian inference.
Yeah.
That's not how that shit all adds up.
Yeah, it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes,
I've already linked you the articles. I've linked you the information. I could talk myself fucking deaf, but I don't think you have any interest in actually listening or learning.
Dude. Mike.
Unless you put up a degree in statistics, I'm going to wager I know a lot more about it than you do.
Yeah.
So basically what he's missing is the Bayesian inference does start with 50-50. It does, but that's only the beginning point. That's the very foundation that you either have the light on or the light off. You end up finding out through the different variables what probability of light half on, light half off you get.
And you just know everything about everything more than
I don't. I don't know everything about everything, but I know more about this than you do.
Yeah, you do.
Thank you.
Pretty much a
Okay,
win.
so am I saying that, or am I now just reading that Toasty Man is going to take the big L here?
No, Toasty Man would never do that. Toasty Man would never admit to losing any argument. Regardless of how stupid his argument is, he would never, ever, ever admit or consent or I'm not consent, concede to the argument. He is arguing in bad faith. That's all this man does. Every moment he speaks is a bad faith argument.
No. Because
Okay. So
because
continue.
he's not even fucking understanding exactly what he just fucking said.
I understand what I said. I don't understand what you're trying to say because it's
300
nonsense.
million possibilities. Each one of them possibilities is going to have a 50-50%.
No, it's not.
No, that's gibberish.
It's not. That is not true at all. Just because something has a chance to occur doesn't mean it's an equal chance to occur as to not occur.
Yes, it is. That's
No,
what
it
literally
doesn't.
means to be probable.
No, it isn't.
That's literally what it means to be
no, it wasn't. That'd actually be deterministic, actually, because it'd be either happens or it doesn't happen. Like no in between. There's no chance it could happen. It just didn't. That's what you're trying to say, and that's nonsense.
It's not nonsense.
It is absolute nonsense.
No.
There's nothing to back up what you're saying.
No.
No, no,
It's
no.
not nonsense because every fucking thing on this universe and in reality has a 50% of a 1%
You
chance.
keep
to-
saying
that's
that
wrong.
it doesn't make
all
it
that's
true.
necessary, all that's necessary for anything to fucking happen is a 1% chance
That's wrong.
versus a 99. So
Yeah,
all you
chances,
ever need
probabilities can actually dip below 1%.
is that
It doesn't
1%
have to be 1%.
to roll. That is what it means to have probability.
No, it isn't.
Yes.
Told you what probability is. It gave you a very basic, easy to understand definition. You're convoluting it with something that doesn't even make any sense at all.
Yes. Dude, okay.
Even my wife looked at it and said, "What the fuck is he going on about?" She was confused too. I can't find anybody who can understand this nonsense you're trying to make us believe.
I do believe I hop
So
up here.
you know,
in just a
I'm
minute.
reliant on you to try and explain it.
I wanted to make sure God's favorite aunt was totally victorious in this argument
I'm
first.
not exactly sure how, but
It doesn't make any sense. Yeah,
And
go
that's
ahead.
so that it was
Being
their
rude.
argument. It started
Well,
out as their
I mean,
argument, and I believed
I can explain it to you, but I
that I
can't
should
make you
let it
understand
take its
it.
course before I go up there and
How do I
and
feel?
force you to understand.
How I typically feel with you in a
wreck the train, so to speak.
conversation.
What?
I said that's how I typically feel with you in any given conversation. Is somebody who just fucking he might be hearing the words, but he doesn't understand a fucking thing he's being told.
Okay, so is anything possible?
No.
Anything is not possible.
Okay, Zuzu is it backstage. Let's add him to the chopping block.
It's about to get fun. Hello, how are you?
Hey, Zers.
Zuzu, what is going on, man? Welcome to Spin City News and the probability of relativity. What can you add to this?
So first I would like to ask if it's okay if I could share this later on my channel.
Absolutely.
Awesome sauce.
As long if you can give me the collab, I'd greatly appreciate it. If not, it's not expected.
Oh yeah. So I guess this all started with a discussion about I guess Christianity versus evolution, the creation versus evolution, and I don't think that really needs to be brought into this. When we're talking about the Bayesian inference, I do think that Toasty Man Bad has a very, very bad understanding of it. And I guess the best way I could explain it is, so you're arguing 50%, like 50%, you go into a casino, you get a 50-50 chance you're going to win. You know, let's say you walk out with $300. That when you walked into that casino, it was just a matter of odds if you walked in or out with $300. But that's not necessarily the Bayesian reference, inference. The Bayesian inference would be more of a graph from zero. There's nothing that's zero. Nothing at all is zero. So there's a degree between zero that you can split into many different individual pieces, such as, let's say you walked in and you only won $50 with the same amount that you put in, or you walked in and you won $5,000 with the same amount that you put in. Each one of those have individual probabilities to them, individual, let's say, partitions of zero. Now, God's favorite ant was correct when he told me you can't divide zero, but you can't divide by zero. You can divide zero into individual sections, though. That's basically what.
That's just division under a different name.
So another way to look at this would be if you took two pool balls and you mash them together at a great enough speed to where they pretty much turn to dust. There's a 50-50 chance that it turns into dust or that it doesn't turn into dust. They just smash together and they bounce off. And
I don't think it'd be 50-50.
But there's multiple probabilities, such as 1 in a billion that it splits into half, or 1 in 500 billion that it splits into particles with dust, or 1 in, so each one of those probabilities are a different bracket of from negative, 0 to negative or to positive. And I kind of forgot to mention that makes the 50-50 null and void, because that's what happens with the Bayesian inferences. Once I break down all of those different types that the bowls can destroy into, it can destroy into either a cloud of dust, a pile of dust, or it could break into 100 pieces with some dust, or it could break exactly in half and not have any dust. Each one of those new variables that I incorporate into the final math makes my 50-50 no longer existent. 50-50 is the baseline that you start with. Once you input each new variable, after it passes the Bayesian inference and you include it into your variable, then you no longer have 50-50. You have whatever the new variable is that came out of the Bayesian inference. It's a position in between 1 and 0, or 1 and negative.
Okay, so Toasty, what are your thoughts?
Actually, I was gonna ask him. He turns theirs up, but I didn't want to interrupt him.
Oh, no, he didn't know how to make the argument.
Yeah, now you're better.
Okay, he's up the whole way on my end. Zerzu's.
And I could kind of go through it more if you'd like, because if you didn't hear me, but
I don't know. It's being a little weird. All right. Go ahead and let's try this again.
Okay, so basically I'm thinking to myself, oh God, I have to explain all of that again. I was explaining the Bayesian inference as a bracket. Let's say you have a bracket that's 1 is white, negative is green, let's say, and then there's a middle section that's 0. That middle section is what the Bayesian reference breaks up. It breaks up the 0 to 1 or 0 to negative. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, and it breaks it into, it can be bracketed. You can bracket it 50%, 50-50, or you can actually look into what happens and find out that, like, you have a 1 in 10,000 chance with your apple reference. You have a 1 in 10,000 chance that apple's going to come out perfectly round, perfectly red. Spots are all in the right places. The flavor's perfect, juiciness, tenderness, crispiness. But there's billions of different mutations that can happen to that apple from the original mother and father. I guess that's not how an apple tree works, but if we said original mother and father, then there's billions of different things that could happen to that apple. Some, it may not have spots on the same tree, on the exact same tree, one apple
Right.
can have no spots, while another apple's spots are perfect. One apple can be yellow and all misshapen, while on the same tree, another apple is absolutely perfect. So it's not necessarily a 50-50. There's a billion different ways that you could break it up into brackets after you study the subject. Once you study the subject, then you can find out that it has maybe a 1 in 30 odds of budding and not even making an apple. The bud just falls off and the apple never produces. Or you could find out there's like, and I don't know if any of these odds are right. I'm throwing out odds out of my ass, but it's showing that there's multiple different, there's not just a 50-50 chance. There can be a 1 in 10,000 chance or that Earth gets, that a new, through photosynthesis, a new bacteria grows in our atmosphere that we've never seen before and kills us all off. The odds can be broken up into many different levels than just 50-50. 50-50 is looking at it at its most basic form.
Also,
it's either I win or
Every one of
lose.
those levels could have a 50-50 to it, correct?
No. Each one of those are a different inference of its own. You're making an inference of what are the odds of this one thing happening over the perfection, and which would be the one. So we find that there's many different things that can happen individually, but we don't split that thing up into either it does or doesn't happen. It does or doesn't happen is its own individual Bayesian inference. It's its own individual Bayesian inference. The other things are other individual Bayesian inferences, such as will the apple be perfectly shaped? Will the apple be perfectly colored? Those are individual. Will the apple be perfectly shaped is an individual Bayesian inference. And will the apple be spotted perfectly as its own individual Bayesian inference? And will the apple be perfectly red? That's its own individual. How much juiciness would be in it? That's its own. And that one actually gets broken up into many different, how much juice? Once you squeeze all the juice.
Individuals is a 1%?
No. Also, you have to understand, like, each event that can occur does not have equal weighting. They're not all equally likely to occur. Some
Correct.
are more likely than others to occur.
Sure.
That is
Correct.
So you can't just assume that because there's only 2 events, they have equal chances of occurring.
I'm still not sure what question I didn't answer. Was it about the cat video? Yeah, Tom dug it. The cat smuggling mice across the Canadian border and haphazardly crossing the Canadian border as if he's not defying ICE. Now, one thing I found funny in that video was there was a point where he walked across the border and he started licking his paw in the grass, and behind him was a US FPS truck. That was hilarious. Yeah, this guy doesn't understand odds at all. Basically, so what he's trying to do is he's trying to take 1%. I'm explaining this for Dr. Nimrod since I think he just showed up. And hello, Dr. Nimrod. He's trying to take, so 1% is 1% of 50%. 50% make 100%. So 101% make 1%. But he's trying to break the 1% down for no mathematical function whatsoever, or no logical function. The Bayesian inference is basically a logical function of probability. He doesn't understand probability at all.
Because they don't. Even though it's only 2, I get.
So basically what his argument is if they say that a meteor is going to strike the planet, has a 1 in 10 million odds, He thinks that 1 in 10 million odds can be broken back down into a 50-50 ratio. It can't. That's the breakdown. 1 in 10 million. Once you've broken it down, there's no function necessary to try to break it down more. It doesn't make any sense. It's an irrational argument to begin with.
Where you're going with that, but that's not how that breaks down.
One could have inequalities.
One could have a 99% chance to occur, and the other could have a 1% chance to occur.
So if we look at the Earth had many chances. It could have been a complete barren Earth, or it could have been an Earth with plants only, or it could have been an Earth with plants and animals, no humans. It was just and with humans, we didn't have a 50% chance of showing up. We had a 1 in billions of chance.
A 1 in 40.
Quadrillions. I don't even know how large of a number you can put on it.
Well,
that man would have from photosynthesis, from originating from energy. So if we think about the true story, there's nobody that's telling the story of an ant jumping out of a rock. Nobody is telling that story. That's a straw man, as much straw man as you can get. From what I gather from evolutionists is they're telling. Hold on, sir. From what I gather from evolutionists is they're. Lotteries is actually a good way to reference the Bayesian inference. So you have basically, if you just think of it off and on, you're either going to win or you're not going to win. That's where the Bayesian starts at the 50-50. Now with lottery tickets, you have odds of winning, which are individual, but those odds in themselves are split by the Bayesian reference of what is the probability that you will win the lottery by yourself. That changes your entire odds of gathering the entire winning. That's what the Bayesian inference starts to look at. Telling that everything started with energy, and that energy was exposed as
Let me
radiation.
stop you right there. You're talking about abiogenesis that is separate from evolution. It's a different conversation entirely. It's not even studied by the same.
Adaptability is also a separate conversation, and therefore
that's part of evolution.
And what he's trying to do is he's trying to look at your odds of winning the lottery and then split those odds back into a 50-50 chance. That's the odds. You can't bring it back to 50-50. Once the odds of winning the lottery per level has been established, there's no way of changing that back to a 50-50. 50-50 would be a null point, would be a unstudied specimen, an unstudied subject. That's where you start with 50-50. Once you have studied the specimen or you have studied the subject matter, then you can change your theory, your logic, based on the new evidence. If it is not null. If it's a null result, like something that's never going to happen, you don't have to include it into your probability. Such as I referenced earlier, the coin landing on its side. It's such a null reference. It's so rare that you can make a probability of it landing on its side, but it doesn't change the probability of a coin flip being 50-50 win or lose.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it is. That's actually what evolution's defining. That's what it's discussing. Is adaptive. Part of it is adaptability.
Well, evolution does accept the Big Bang, correct?
Well, it doesn't matter. It's independent of it.
It is a separate topic.
Evolution does not care how the universe got here. It does not care how life got here. It discusses how self-replicating life changes over time.
The development of life is changing over time, correct? Yeah,
Super shot.
You can have self-replicating life that does not have traits that are passed down, and that type of life will never change or evolve. But we don't observe that. It's one of those things you have to acknowledge. Yeah, technically, I guess you could have that. We just haven't observed it.
I would agree that evolution doesn't necessarily look into the beginning. It looks into from what we have, what comes from.
So you have a causeless evolution.
What's that?
Which is violative of the fucking scientific method, dude.
No, it isn't.
Yes, it is.
How does it violate the scientific method?
Because the scientific method requires a cause.
We have a cause.
It has to have a cause in order to formulate the hypothesis and then move on into the rest of the process.
Yeah, here's the cause. Things fuck and have kids, and they pass things on to their kids. And over time, changes accumulate, and then suddenly you have a brand new version of whatever species that is, like a new type of cat, a new type of dog, a new type of human, whatever. Things change and become new things but it takes a long time.
That's adaptation. That's not evolution.
Adaptation is part of it. It is evolution.
So you have to absorb adaptation in order to fucking make your argument at all entirely. Right. But if the fucking scientific community says that fucking adaptation and evolution are two separate fucking things,
can you demonstrate that? Because I've never seen that. I've never seen scientists say that.
Well, it depends. There's a species of bat. So I can't remember where the species of bat is that was believed to be two different species at one time. I'll try to look it up if you wish. But the one bat was large, roughly 3 inches, 4 inches in wingspan, and the other bat was very small. And for the longest time, we thought they were two different types of bats. But once we finally were able to capture one of I believe it was a larger bats were harder to capture than the smaller ones, which is weird. But once we were able to capture one of the larger bats, we found out through testing their DNA that they were genetically identical. The science still can't explain what makes one species smaller than the larger species, and they could interbreed if they wished, but they see each other as predators and prey, so they don't interbreed.
So it can't.
And that is a sign of an evolutionary, and it happened all on its own.
Yeah, geographic isolation can cause stuff like that. I forget the exact. There's a scientific term for it where two species become geographically separated. It can kind of follow their own tracks, but still be the same species.
And that goes to the Bayesian inference that it could be. It doesn't have to be that big 3-inch bat, 4-inch bat. It could be a much smaller 1.5 inch, almost my bug-like bat. The second bat they were showing was so weird how small it was. I didn't even know bats were that tiny.
Maybe explain how that happens, but given I'm not an evolutionary biologist, I would encourage you to fact check this on your own. Is that these bats have this trait, right? One to make small bats, one to make big bats. Let's keep it simple. All right. These populations get geographically isolated. And it turns out that in this area, being a big bat, not great. They don't survive very well. So the small bats survive to pass on being small bats. And that's in that area, you see a trend towards many more small bats versus big bats.
Right.
On the other population, being the big bat.
In the bat population I'm referring to, the ultimate result was that there's more food where the big bats live, and there's less food where the small bats live. So it made sense for the small bats to be small so they don't have to eat as much, and the big bats to be big and so they can catch more prey.
In town is advantageous, and so they survive to they're more likely to survive to
selective processing.
Yeah, they're more likely to survive and breed and have little baby bats, right? That become big bats. That's what I'm trying to get at.
No, selective evolution doesn't necessarily say we will always benefit from what evolves. Let's say that we end up with a horn on our head for no reason, and scientists may look at that and go, "Oh, they did or somebody may look at that and go, oh, they had that horn for so they could defend themselves, and yet it was more of a hindrance throughout our entire existence. You know, something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's not perfect. Take sickle cell anemia. That was an adaptation among humans in areas where malaria is prevalent. That gene helps protect them from malaria, but the flip side is sickle cell anemia. It's kind of a trade one for the other deal there. Not always the case, but that's a good example where an adaptation can be both beneficial and detrimental at the same time.
The appendix. The appendix at one time they believe was a organ that helped us process raw meat, and we no longer need it, so we eventually lost the use of the appendix, and it shriveled up into nothing. But what does it do now? It just makes us sick.
I'm not so sure, because I know that's been the popular belief. That's been what's out there for a long. Like I've heard that since I was a kid, and I've heard recently that they're actually learning more about that about the appendix, and it's not quite as useless as first thought. But I still think you're pretty spot on. Like
it would recede completely. It would recede completely if it was absolutely useless. It has a purpose. If it doesn't have a purpose, it wouldn't be getting ill, because it wouldn't be processing anything. It's getting ill. There's a billion processing possibilities of evolution,
right? Or it's just part of your biology, and bacteria and stuff are going to just find any place they can to thrive.
Yeah, there's that too.
If the appendix is the least defended part, that'll be the first target, right?
Right.
Everything seeks a ground.
So does 1 + 1 really equal 2?
Yes.
In theory?
You should really know what you're talking about before you bring it up.
I don't have to theorize. That's
you're referring to it's not 1 + 1. It's does 1 × 1 = 2, which is that who
right,
did that?
No,
that's retard shit. And as far as his stupid freaking helicopter, that's an omni-radius helicopter. Oh shit! I have way before he even ever thought of this. You know how people that are wealthy, they steal ideas from places. They steal old ideas and claim them as their own idea. Oh, I wonder if I could find this multi-function. So have you heard about his omnidirectional helicopter with like 8 or 10 different blades or whatever?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Okay, so that is not a new idea at all. That was way before he even started it. He did a promotion or whatever for people to get it. I'm trying to find that video now. Oh my God, I'll never find it.
Let me say this, and yes, adaptation and evolution are distinct. Would you think?
Not necessarily. Adaptation is more like a. Okay, so before I get on to the adaptation argument, as I was saying, so a rich person often steals an idea, and Howard, he stole that idea of the multi-helicopter from something that was around decades before he started making his argument that he could create the perfect helicopter that can fly in any angle in any direction. Here's a good proof of it.
Rotate while hovering on the spot.
This was decades
or combine to simplify novel maneuvers.
Howard's garbage. This company ended up going under. They didn't end up doing great because, well, they spent all their money on testing. He didn't invent this. This is no invention of his. This existed at least a decade before he even thought about this.
Or combined to simplify novel maneuvers.
Anyway, I just thought I'd share that since I mentioned it. Yeah, they're all over the place. That's kind of what I expect in these hemispheres or in these areas. microevolution
They are
and
closely related to biological.
what you're thinking as far as like evolution is that we see tomorrow a brand new species of something that we've never seen before, and we actually do all throughout the animal kingdom see multitudes of examples of in areas that we know well we're at what is new species coming to be.
But you would agree that they are closely related, but they're biological concepts.
No, not at all. There's some species of butterfly that actually came from the monarch, I believe. I'd have to look that crap up, and right now I can't even pull up that old video. My computer's not working. That is not a monarch anymore. It's not even genetically. It's not genetically the same at all.
Modified.
Well, there's also like
no, that was a natural. That was another. That's what I'm trying to explain is more examples of natural changes that would most certainly support an evolutionary process.
There's a lot. There's the apple maggot experiments. They've done experiments on fruit flies. There was that long-term study on E. coli. All of this showed speciation.
The hairless cat. So there's not the Sphinx, which has been around forever, but there was a species of cat which was from Canada. Right. There was a species of cat that was from Canada, just in one barn. It originated, and from the mother and father, who were perfectly haired cats, bore an entire batch of hairless cats. And every cat that those cats bore were hairless cats. And that's where we get a lot of the hairless cats that aren't the Sphinx cat. That's where we get those cats, is from that species of cat that on a farm one day, all you could say is that it evolved not to have hair.
Cat genetics are wild.
you can breed a cat with hair with that cat, and it will bore a hairless cat.
Maybe.
Well, they haven't shown evidence of one that bred hair.
I don't think they have the coding to have hair or fur after that, but I could be wrong. I mean, it might pop back up. It might just be something it's like a recessive trait.
It could be recessive, yeah, like our blonde hair,
right? But if both your parents have blonde hair, even as a recessive trait, the way it's coded, it's most likely going to end up with blonde hair.
Right, but where it turns out weird is that you could have two brunette parents end up bore a blonde child because of that recessive gene, and they'll be like, "What the fuck, man? You cheated on me." No,
and that's just a simple case of probability. It was more likely you'd have the brown hair, but there was always the chance that you could be born with the blonde hair.
And if you look up that statistics, it's not going to say 50-50. It's going to say it's billions to one or whatever. It's not going to say 50-50. And that's
depend on the population.
50-50 of 1% doesn't make any damn sense. It's
gibberish. All day. I'm like, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
It's almost like flat Earth arguments. You know what I mean?
This makes less sense somehow.
Okay, so I'm gonna say this. Yes, a 50-50 or 50% / 0.5 probability is a common starting point in Bayesian inference.
Bingo! It's the starting point. Everything starts with a null result until you study it. And then once you study it, you add different inference points, different brackets, different partitions, if you will, different pieces of zero. Starting point.
Represented as a prior belief.
That's why you don't just read one damn word, when you do a search, don't just read the thing that it's answering you. It's also giving you a link to all of the information you need to learn the rest of the story. it's usually giving you the most basic idea, and that is the null of everything starts with 50-50 until you add different variables, and then it changes that 50-50 to whatever new variable has been provided, should that variable hold enough weight to be added.
Of maximum uncertainty.
Right, that confirms what I was saying, that it's going to the most basic. Yeah, he doesn't understand. See, the show host here doesn't understand what maximum uncertainty is. Maximum uncertainty is just that. It's the everything has either a off or on. What the Bayesian inference does, it looks at how many different pieces of off are on, how many partial off, partial ons are there. Most basic understanding, the understanding of the Bayesian principle. It's not going any further than the surface understanding.
So that means,
hold on, guys. Toasty,
so
you can respond.
That means that in any fucking possibility and probability, there is going to be a 50-50 attribute to it. Which means you two fuckheads are wrong.
No. There's nothing. There's nothing. You cannot show me any statistic in the universe that is.
Hold on. Let him finish. Let him finish, guys. Go ahead.
Yes, because for every 50-50, for every possibility, there is a 50% chance of it occurring.
Right.
No, that's what I'm trying to tell you. The probabilities are weighted. They're
going
back.
There's a 50-50 of a 1% chance.
Going back to the casino, going back to the casino example, the 50-50 that he's talking about is you have 50% chance that you're going to win when you go into the casino versus you're going to lose. There's 50% chance that you're going to win when you walk into the casino or you're going to lose. But there's a billion possibilities of how much money you'll lose while you're winning the money, and a billion possibilities of how much. And this is based on game. That's what the Bayesian inference is the probability that you play.
I'm fucking right, and I don't
the probability that you play craps and lose all your money versus the probability that you play blackjack and have a higher likelihood, odds, probability of winning more. So there's multiple individual inferences. Y'all guys get that, right? I mean, it's real simple that each individual game gives you a different probability of winning at the casino. Even though when you walked into the casino, before ever sitting down, you had a 50-50 chance of winning versus losing. But it could be manipulated in probability factor by which game you play or how long you play on which game. Within the original, am I going to win or am I going to lose?
No, there's a 50-50 of.
And what you're trying to do is then divide that into some form of ultra probability, which is nonsense. If your entire argument that it's off or on, then we don't need probabilities at all.
Every 1%. That is literally what that fucking means.
No, it isn't.
You're looking at it at the most basic level. Look deeper into the same laws, the same.
There's a 50% chance of every possibility occurring or not occurring.
No, it's not always a 50-50 chance.
Yes.
Not everything is equally likely to occur.
Yes, they all are.
No, it isn't. No, it's not. Just because there's only two outcomes doesn't mean they're equally likely to occur. It means they're
That's quite literally ignoring the antecedents, all of the antecedents. You're quite literally denying any antecedents. It's either one way or the other. That's quite literally the definition of denying the antecedents. There may be a
literally-
million different
Like,
antecedents.
literally what?
Denying the antecedent. You're only giving a linear dual-ended paradigm. You're
Yeah, I
not giving the
only
multitudes
third option.
any option or not any option.
Okay,
Sorry.
what's the third option?
To what?
If there's another option besides it either will or it won't, what's
Nothing
the third?
It only partially happens or nothing happens.
So
And that goes to
partially
either-
partially will or it partially
Okay, so
won't?
what you're saying is when you smash the pool balls together, it's either going to bust into dust or it's going to not bust at all. When it can, when I explained earlier that it
Okay,
can
so
bust
there's no
into
third
a
fucking
different,
option, no matter how small.
it
the
could either
possibility
bust into
is.
little pieces, it could split in
Either
half.
will or it won't.
No,
Toasty,
okay,
there's only
will
two
or
options.
won't is
It's
going
not
to the most
usually
basic.
likely.
One is.
Will
Oh
or
my
won't
God.
is going to the most basic explanation. It's saying I either will or won't win at the casino. It's not necessarily how much did I win and how did I win that amount and what pieces were put together to give me how much I won. That's what the Bayesian inference looks at. It doesn't just look at the whole of not or does. It puts a
I'm not
category, brackets. It
I'm
puts
saying
categories,
it's-
brackets, and you
it's-
can break
it's
that
a
up into
1% chance, no matter how small the fucking one is.
just because you keep saying 50% chance, it doesn't, there's nothing in the universe that is ever, show me one statistic anywhere that says you got 50-50 chance.
Flipping a
Nothing.
coin.
Nothing. It's numerically invalid.
I'm sorry, I couldn't resist.
You
But
have a
flipping a coin is
you have a
technically 50-50.
50% chance of even nothing.
But even that's not truly 50-50 because coins aren't all made
or
the same.
nothing
They're
at
all
all.
the same on each side. So
I
technically
can't
it's
hear
not
you
quite-
because he's talking over you.
Oh, sorry.
What were you saying?
Mirror toasting.
Yeah.
Oh, I was just teasing you. You said nothing could be 50-50. I'm like, coin flips.
Yes, nothing can. If it comes down to creation itself, yes, it either will or it won't come into play.
But that doesn't, those are the two events. But that does not mean they're equally likely to happen.
Yes, it does.
No, it
because
doesn't.
even those
It absolutely does not.
odds
If,
for
you're,
it to
if
happen
one
are
event
up
is
to a bunch of
something that
things.
violates the laws of nature,
Hold on, one at a time. One at a time.
if an event would violate the known laws of nature, okay, the likelihood that it's going to occur is incredibly low. Incredibly low. And I'm not even sure like how this would occur, but we have to admit that somehow there's some circumstance it could possibly occur. But it's very, very low. So the overwhelmingly expected thing to happen is that doesn't happen. So no, and I'm using an extreme example. This goes all the way down for all kinds of things. Not everything has equal odds to happen or not to happen. You have a very, very simplistic not even understand. I don't even know what to call what you have, but what you're spouting is not correct at all.
So does even the possibility of either it will happen or not happen also split into 50-50s?
Well, it depends what you
Does
mean
it
by
not?
50. Because if you say 50-50 to me, you're telling me there's an equal likelihood that either could occur.
Yeah, I didn't exactly look into it, and that's why I said while I was up there on panel, I don't know, but I imagine when I look into a coin flip, I'll find it not to be 50-50, but yep. Now, what he's trying to argue, what Toasty Man Dumb is trying to argue. Oh, yeah, thank you. Now, what Toasty Man Dumb was trying to argue is that 1N can be broken down 50-50 somehow. He's arguing there's a reason to break down the 1 in back to 50-50. When you say 1 in 3, his argument is that 1 can then be broken down back into a 50-50. which is absolutely nonsense. I know I just said that multiple times, but it's that fucking stupid.
Occur, and I will flat out reject that for
Well, on
anything
that,
other than flipping a coin.
and then
Okay,
going back to
great.
flipping the coin, that's where I was going to go, is flipping the coin. On that, I actually, I beg a differ on that. And
I'd
I
accept
don't know
it.
how to prove it wrong, that there's not a 50% chance that you land heads. And there's
If
not a
you do it-
50% chance
if-
that you land tails.
If you
There's
sample it long enough, it does basically approach 50-50 odds. But I would accept that it never reaches 50-50 odds, especially considering we're talking about nature. It's messy. We don't have
yeah, you see, I
a
bucked back a little
deterministic
bit.
world. Everything's affected by probabilistic forces, and so there's imperfections in the coin. There's differences in one side to the.
Which is funny. If you listen to my hater community, they argue that everything I do is AI. How am I arguing this in real time? That doesn't make any sense.
Other. It's not going to flip the exact same way. So all these little imperfections are gonna weight it to something that's not quite.
How
50-50.
many 50-50?
I mean, it's quite funny. Shiz actually had AI tell her something about her channel that was true, and she scoffed at it and said, "Oh, the AI is only saying that because of Kazuzu." How the fuck is my little channel controlling what AI says? If it's true and it hurt, ma'am, it was true. There's a probability factor to that as well.
You think went into making the fucking coin?
None, because that's not how probability works.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No, it isn't. You don't
Yes, it
understand how probability works. You don't even understand what
Yes,
probability
it is. Because
No.
you still have all those little probabilities that came down to the result of that fucking coin, dude.
How many times do I have to keep telling you that it's not an either or and there's not equal chance for either event?
Okay,
it's
so then
not that
what's
simple.
the fucking third option?
Nothing happens.
Nothing happens. Okay, so is there an either or probability that nothing happens?
Well, the other possibilities are your alternatives.
So
That
Nothing
would
happens.
be where my
Nothing
billions
happens.
of other. That's where be where my
Either-
billions of other references
Yeah.
come in.
And this can expand out
anything
quite a
happens
bit because there's a whole
Or
lot of
nothing
variables. What?
or nothing may happen.
Nothing may happen. That happen. You see this a lot in chemistry. You know, not every we understand certain chemicals will react with each other, but it's not guaranteed. There's things that can happen that can cause the reaction to be stronger or weaker than expected because fewer or more of the agents reacted.
Entire composition then? Can I take
Huh?
the entire composition and then randomly rearrange it into any order I see fit and still get that fucking result?
Say again. That doesn't.
Can I take that chemical composition then, rearrange it however I fucking want to, and still get that same result?
Well, you
No.
could actually take. Wait, you could take that chemical
Fire.
content and change the way you process it and get an entirely different result. There's a guy online that makes. He made a hot sauce, like a hot sauce for your tacos, out of rubber gloves, and it was what he
Saw that.
did. What he did was he processed the rubber glove differently than it was processed to make a rubber glove, and that turned it into hot sauce. He broke it down into capsaicin, and then I forget what else. And he ended up making a hot sauce that he was dumb enough to actually taste. I would not taste anything I made in a lab out of a rubber glove, but
Yeah, but he's on YouTube, so he has to dance for the organ grinder.
he also made vodka out of glue, out of wood glue.
I saw that one. I'm trying to remember the name.
God,
Is it Nile Red?
Freaking amazing. I can't remember his name.
Is it Nile Red?
Maybe it is. I don't know. Man, the dude is amazing. And all it is the way that you process the material, the same exact yes or no material. Yes, it's a glove. No, it's a glove. Well, no, it could be many different things. Actually, it could be he ended up making 5 different chemicals out of it, the same glove.
Yeah. I mean, to consider what was used to make the latex to make the glove. There's a lot of chemical chains in there. All you have to do is break them down, separate them, reorganize them however you please.
And a lot of it was very temperature specific, time specific.
Yep. Because depending on the type of reaction, like that's especially true like organic reactions, like certain enzymatic things only happen within certain temperature.
Here's where I start to explain that different temperatures and times changes your variables entirely, changes your probabilities. Do you get capsaicin, or do you get this random chemical that might kill you?
Bands, you see this in fermenting. Like if you make beer, alcohol or stuff, like there's specific temperature ranges you want to keep it in for different enzymatic processes during making the beer.
And as far as off on, yes, no, it being 50% chance that, so he heats up this chemical at this temperature and rotates it at this speed for this long, it's going to exactly make what he wants. Well, no, because he did everything processed exactly right, and he came up with something different. It wasn't a nothing for sure, and it wasn't
the probabilities were probably weighted towards getting the result he was going for.
Have you noticed how every single argument I make leads back to the probability argument? I kind of stay completely on task. Now at this point, Toasty Man Bad's burnt. He's so freaking burnt toast right now. He's just, all he could do is just sit there and basically listen to us ramble on about shit he doesn't understand.
But it wasn't a guarantee. Like,
no, he got something entirely different.
Thank you. I think I have 2 videos.
Oh, did he? Oh, never mind. So you got to. So, yeah, he predicted something.
You guys giving me homework.
He knew the steps to make it happen, and then it came up.
Man almighty, I remember when I measured pi live on my channel. I should do that with somebody again.
With something else. That's what I was talking about. You can't guarantee future results.
Right, you can't guarantee repetition.
Yeah.
You remember that when I asked the viewers that were with me, I believe it was Nick Volt and I can't remember who, it may have been Terry Ironton Auditor, to only give me one measurement, not all of the measurements. I asked them to make multiple measurements of their circular object, but I only wanted one measurement, and out of that one measurement I could inference the size of the object they were holding in their hand, and I accurately measured them live. You can measure pi. You can weight highly the likelihood of repetition.
What?
Then that totally says that nothing in the
no,
world.
not you. I'm like, he's here laughing. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, nothing. I was ignoring it, laughing. That's what somebody does when they ran completely out of any type of argumentation.
Oh, he might have just seen something.
I've got all the argument. I'm just watching you two fucking make it for me.
You didn't make it for you. Nothing we said is compatible with.
We're showing 100% because there's only 100% of anything.
Yep.
I'm literally watching it as you
that
two are
there is
talking
not a
about the entire
50-50. Hello, Sue. Yeah, this guy's already falling apart now. I mean, it's pretty much over at this point, but he refuses to accept defeat. And how are you doing? Good to see you around. Good to see you around. Anything. You cannot show me any statistic, and I really actually, if I
you
really
guys are already making my point for me.
Clip, I really kind of doubt that there's.
But you guys are so fucking stupid. You can't see past your own fucking nose. You guys don't even realize you're making my argument for me. I've already won.
No, you haven't.
In your head, you
Yes, I
have. In your head, you have.
You guys gotta say, oh, there's all these little fucking possibilities. All these little possibilities. They're all
There's not 50% of anything. That's all those other antecedents you want to ignore. Now, in a little bit, he's going to breathe into the mic all, and I'm going to answer him with a, or the non-50%.
in a product.
All of the other antecedents you want to ignore are the non-50%.
So have we settled? So have we settled the argument
You guys
yet?
are already making the argument for me.
We settled the argument before I showed up. I mean,
Yeah, right. I don't even at this point. I'm not even sure what we're supposed to be continuing to argue. Like, Toasty cannot demonstrate this thing he believes to be true. He just keeps repeating it like if he's going to will it into existence, and it's just never going to happen.
They just.
Well, he's got no more argument calculator.
I'm losing. I better start cackling like a hyena.
Well, I think there could be a consortium of 50% of 50% equals 1%, right?
I think I've
No,
watched him a few
50% plus
times.
50% would be 100%.
Okay, Ant.
Well,
All right. It's
You
2:15 in the morning here.
You go ahead.
I'm not trying to bust your balls. It's just a
No, it's
minor
fine.
arithmetic correction. It wasn't a big deal.
Why does it got to be a lunatic? I didn't call you a libtard tonight.
I didn't
Okay.
call you a lunatic.
Oh, I thought you called me a lunatic. I was going to say.
No, I think we were just talking at the same time. You misheard me. I didn't call you.
Yeah, I don't. The
Oh.
reason why you didn't call many people or anybody a libtard is it's not really. I don't think any of this topic was lib or conservative. It was just.
Well, if you
logic.
want to get into the semantics, we can.
Semantics.
No, we're good.
Well, I
don't mind the invectives like on like the big shows and stuff because it provides some spice and color and whatnot. A little bit of fire is good for everything. But in like
Sure.
everyday conversation, I don't find it very useful. You know, it's like I
I'm
can't
ready
sit
to
around and call
smoke a
people I don't
dab
know an asshole or a retard just at will. That doesn't have good results. If I know the person, yeah, I call him that shit all day. Especially
Yeah,
around
right
here,
here,
it's like,
I'm
we're all
ready to
here
go. I'm
butt
like,
heads.
man,
It's
we've
what we
already
came
beat him
together
to a
for.
pulp. He isn't
absolutely.
saying
If it bothers you that I'm
Oh, it's great.
tell you.
I love the engagements. You know what I mean?
I like-
it
call me
allows me
names.
to work my brain. You know.
People
You
call
know,
me names was just expected. I knew that was when it come. Actually, it took a long time for people to start calling me names. Actually, kind of.
I try not to call anybody names. I try not to tell anybody their argument is stupid. I stick to the formal debate.
It depends on
Great.
the situation. Like if we're trying for a more calm discussion, then I'll filter out like the invectives and little petty attacks, just because we're not going.
Oh, I throw in Easter egg petty attacks. I mean, they're hidden. They're hidden. If you listen, you'll find them.
Well, those are the best kind because nobody really gets upset, and the people who get it just get a little smile to themselves. It's pretty.
He's right, because the way that I do my little attacks, where they're like little Easter eggs, you don't realize that I ad homed you till long after I ad homed you, that it doesn't distract from the argument, because by the time the person that I insulted gets that I insulted them, we've already moved on. We've already went past the point where I've insulted them. It would look ridiculous for them to, hey, but you said 5 minutes ago, and I just caught it.
Pretty harmless. I don't mind that. That's not.
I come in and I come into panels. I mean, y'all
You're
know
a
me
fucking
from-
hand grenade.
Absolutely.
Oh, hey.
Throw you in and just watch the fucking chaos.
Well, let's just put it this way. It may, I will not allude to the fact that it may or may not be planned that way.
I always assume that it's planned. I tried because I figure that's the most charitable explanation for people's behavior on panels and stuff. So also it's a good just thing. If you keep that in your head, then you don't take the shit personal. You just kind of whatever. It was just for the show.
You know, I have to say this. I may or may not know about what is being talked about in a literal sense, but you know, panels educate me. Believe it or not. I mean, through all the banter and me telling people to shut the fuck up and you know, maybe go back to KFC where you fucking belong.
I mean, I might drop the casual racism, but you do you. It's not on me to tell you how to say and what to say and how to talk and all that shit. That's up to you. But was me, yeah, probably wouldn't be part of my routine.
Well, I
and to explain that, yes, Spin City is very, very casually racist.
I try to skirt very closely to the TOS. But if we were specifically on one platform, I wouldn't give a shit what I said.
Sure. I mean, if you're like on Rumble, and I think Kick, they don't really care either. They say basically anything.
Pilled. I am.
Oh, Pilled too. Yeah.
Yeah,
you were telling me about that before.
Yeah, I am pretty well known on Pilled.
So do you guys notice how dead silent Toasty Man Bad has been for a very long time? That is the sound of your ass in your hand after you got handed your ass by Aunt and I.
That I just don't give a shit. So, I mean, look, I may have my own ideation or own thoughts on things, and you know, I try and see the fun in it, if that makes any sense.
Oh, since we're off the topic, anyways, I heard you say something earlier. Were you talking about my effigy as avatars?
Yes, I want to know.
I can teach you how to do it. I can teach you how to make them, and you probably know how to make them because it's nothing special.
What's funny is I actually had the winter sauce right, but I later thought that I had it wrong because my camera's reversed, so I flipped it, and then everybody saw it wrong.
You know, it's just this was made with Grok Imagine. I'm not an animator or anything like that.
Okay, I don't have that, but
you do.
I don't know why he wanted to pull up.
Just go to grok.com, click on the Imagine button. But what I do to get the prompt for Imagine is I'll tell Grok, hey, I want to make a prompt. I want it to be like this. And it'll give me a bunch of suggested prompts that I can copy paste over to Imagine, right?
Oh, sure. Okay.
And they're usually a lot more precise than what I would come up with on my own, which is why I like doing this method. And I copy it over and sometimes it'll give you one image right away. Sometimes it'll give you like a whole bunch to pick from. It all depends whether it interprets the prompt as asking for a movie or an image. If it's an image, it'll generate a whole bunch of them. If it's a movie, though, it only does it one at a time.
Okay.
So that's what I do. I get that, and I just do. And another thing you can do, I found out, if you just enter the same prompt a second time, it'll give you a completely different animation.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do that one day, whenever you're around.
Yeah, but I know it's late. Hit me up let's see. Tomorrow's I could be available in the morning for a little while, but I got plans tomorrow, so I might have to dip out quick.
Sure. I mean, whenever. I mean, it doesn't have to be. I want to make something with a tomato.
Sure. I can probably get you up and running inside of an hour. Do you use OBS Studio?
No, I use Prism, and this is my first attempt, believe it or not, to do a panel on my own.
Gotcha.
So
I don't know what Prism is. I'll have to look into that, and I'll have to see what the differences are because I use OBS Studio.
Okay,
for mine.
I use OBS on another computer, but I'm not very good at it at all.
I can
And
walk
then-
you through that. It's very simple.
And then they just did a bunch of updates that they had me download today, and I'm like, it doesn't even look the same anymore to me. So
Gotcha. Like I said, that's like we can do one and then the other on different days too. Like we can just walk
like
through the whole
I'll show
avatar
you.
generation or that, and that can, because OBS could take a while.
See, like I'm using StreamYards and OBS right now to do the where I make it, and this 2D made for me today.
I saw that. That's pretty cool. Because she thought that the image, somebody thought the image I posted was a woman with an orange. I'm like,
I
no,
was
that's
giving you
apple.
crap, man, about it looked
I was
like
just like, it
a
doesn't look
tomato
like an
orange apple.
No, because I was teasing the guys with they're all for Spike. I was going against them in the name of Eris.
Yeah, I was giving you crap about it was a tomato orange apple hybrid.
I want to keep Discordianism alive because it's hilarious. Everybody should be a pope.
I think that is nope, that is not going to be it.
I'll look into
Ooh,
Prism.
it's
I don't
like a tunnel into nowhere.
I
don't know
know.
if I don't know if it has the same capability or a StreamYard will let you do it, but we'll work with it. We'll figure something out.
Yeah, I mean, the Prism Live Studio is pretty much pretty much like OBS. I can just do a hell of a lot more. Like I can put lower thirds. Like if you ever look at my broadcasts of like the president or something like that, you will see what you will see that I can put a lower third on something. I can put an upper third, like live from wherever.
Sure.
Right. And then, I mean, it has the same functionality as OBS. It's just got more functionality, if that makes any sense. Instead of making everything in Canva and putting it up and all that other stuff.
Now you guys can imagine I'm sitting here thinking, okay,
Okay,
man,
I
you beat up
just
those
do it.
videos.
Forever.
Huh?
I haven't used Canva in forever. Jesus.
Well, that, believe it or not, that's how I started making thumbnails is.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm not.
making
No shade on the program. It's just I was like, oh wow, I hadn't thought about that.
it. Yeah.
I usually for like simple image stuff, I just use GIMP, but
Oh,
that's
So
not for the faint-hearted.
Well, no, of course not.
I had a ton of fun. I think I'm gonna dive off and smoke a dab, go smoke a cigarette, and play some truck simulator. I
All
was
right.
bored
Well, I
shitless
think
at that
I
point.
think I don't know if Toasty is still here, but final thoughts, Zerzu.
I'm still here. No.
Burnt toast, as always. You guys are awesome. You don't have to be wise. Just don't submit to stupid.
God's favorite ant. Final thoughts.
It was kind of a fun back and forth, I guess. I don't think we got anywhere, but I wasn't expecting to. So
And Toasty Man Bad. Final thoughts.
Well, I mean, if everything has, if four possibilities make a five, then all the 50s of the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 have to come together eventually to determine that each one of them will exist in order to become the fucking 5. Then there's a 50-50 of a 1% chance for each and every single one of them.
That was all fucking gibberish. But anyway.
All right, guys. Everybody stay here. I'm going to go ahead and end the
Yeah,
stream.
it's all over
Thanks
right
for
about
coming
now.
in, everybody. And let's see if
When Tom wakes
Ant
up,
and
tell him
Toasty's
everybody said hi.
dispute has been settled over on the Discord. Thanks for coming in, everybody. Hope everybody enjoyed the stream. We're going to do more of these. Winer Sauce back.
It says winter sauce, WINNER. But anyway, it says Renu Ekusa at the moment because it's flipped backwards.
But Weiner sauce is the Weiner sauce. So we're gonna end the stream. Everybody stay here, and we'll say good night. Good night, America. Thanks for watching.
Anyway, so that was a lot of fun. That was actually quite a blast. I have Toasty Man Bad. He'll never admit to losing any debate, even though he was clearly crippled here. There was it was obvious because he went completely silent as everybody was just having a good old time, having a normal conversation. Anyway, as I said, Tootie, she hangs out on Raging Tomato sometime. I believe she has her own channel. I'm not sure which channel that is. Anyway, she made me, which was cool, a moving avatar. I like that. So we'll go ahead and play that before I play off the song. You guys have a good night. As always, you don't have to be wise. Just don't submit to stupid. Thank you very much. And have a good night.
You are no match for me, Organic. We'll see about that, you overgrown toaster! Your resistance is futile. I will crush you. Not if I squish you first. Witness my power.
It's a tough game we play on this platform you crave, chasing clicks and likes in the digital wave. With each upload, our stories unfold in a world where the truth is often sold.
Oh, screw to the land of the brave, where the algorithms rule and views we crave. From viral highs to simpleton trolls, in this digital realm, anything goes.
Friendships tested in the quest for fame. Content creators, most have no shame. With every collab there's trust at stake, but in this world some friendships break. Ooh, anything goes. Screw to the land of the brave, where the algorithms rule and views we crave. From viral highs to simpleton trolls, in this digital realm, anything goes. Crafting tales of truth, some of deceit. Chasing trends in a race we repeat. The pressure mounts as views decline in the search for truth. Where do we draw the line? Screw to the land of the brave, where the algorithms rule and views we crave. From viral highs to simpleton trolls, in this digital realm, anything goes. Fabricating evidence just for the views. A double-edged sword in the news we choose. The line between real and fake is thin as the audience questions what lies within. Oh, screw to the land of the brave, where the algorithms rule and views we crave. From viral highs to simpleton trolls, in this digital realm, anything goes. The highs are thrilling,